A lot of people will agree with you on that particular point, but they also share concerns as to, because you have said that as time goes on, we should hope that, you know, the number of security men that will be deploying to the elections will decrease. But people are saying that if these are dress rehearsals for what will happen in February 2015, don't you think that we should begin to have those types of scenarios that we most likely will see come February 2015?
Yeah, absolutely. The argument has been in the public domain that we need to begin to test models around security against the 2015 elections. But like I said, if we do not get it right at this point, then even the expectation we have on the 2015 elections will not be met. And so I think as we move steadily along the lines of reducing political violence, in Ekiti, we had good elections. There were very few cases of violence. If we get it right in the case of Osun, then we can very well believe that we, to some extent, addressing the issue of political violence, and I think we would have done very well with shaping our political culture. But what I find quite interesting,
please go ahead,
is with the engagement of the INEC with all the stakeholders.
Yes, talking about that,
so that they are able to express their concerns.
Talking about the engagement of INEC with the stakeholders, also present there was the Inspector General of Police, and he talked about, in fact, he reeled out the rules, you know, guiding the conduct of elections. They also give extras. They said no picture taken. He also said that when voters are done, the rule is that they shouldn't loiter around. At that point, it would seem that a lot of people didn't quite agree, because it would seem they were used to this new culture of staying around until the votes are counted before everybody goes to their houses. Do you think that, because he also said that, you know, he said the rule is don't loiter around, but you could stay there quietly. Do you think that that is a potential cause for conflict?
I don't exactly think so. I don't exactly think so that it's a potential factor for conflict. If the rules he ruled out yesterday, if the rules were that people vote and leave the area, then I'll have a lot of worry. But he came out very clearly that you vote and remain silent. And I would imagine that what he meant is people should conduct themselves in ways that do not disrupt the process. But again, there are monitors in the field, and there are agents of the different political parties. And they are watching and observing. And if it gets to the point where people are intimidated, I'm quite sure that these issues will come out. But I think very seriously again that providing security is critical for this election.
What will be your take, sorry, Nyota? What will be your take on the issue of taking photographs? You know, you allowed, I remember that watching it yesterday, a senator was saying that he will take photographs, that he has to take it and show his children and his grandchildren, you know, that democracy is an experience. He had this very elaborate explanation. What is your take on that?
Taking of photographs can also be a factor for disrupting the process. I think experiences have shown that when several people begin to conduct themselves in ways that disrupt the process, then rules have to be established to ensure this. I don't have the information as to why the police set up this rule, the rule of not taking photographs around the election venue. But I think all efforts are geared at ensuring that people conduct themselves in ways that enable the election to go on peacefully.
In your opinion, this is like the last litmus test before the general elections in 2015. In your opinion, do you think we are on course to having better elections?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I never have been very, very interested in the process. But with the recent developments, with the elections in Ekiti and other elections conducted in Edo and Adamawa, I am really interested now, and I'm sure so many Nigerians are interested. Nigerians that are committed to seeing that we begin to see credible elections in this country.
Well, when it happened in Anambra, maybe not up to the expectation of even INEC themselves, because they eventually admitted that much. And then you had Ekiti. Now we're heading towards Osun. But I think there will be elections in Adamawa before the main election. I would have to double check that. If these elections in Osun, if there are questions about certain things, it depends on what they are actually. But if there are questions to question the substantial compliance of these elections to the expectations on the law, do you think that will dampen the psychological makeup or the enthusiasm of the electorate or the politician, no, not politician, the eternal optimist? I mean, the electorate here ahead of the big one, 2015.
Yeah, I think that's even why we need to get it right at this point in different areas, with security, with deployment of electoral materials, with the integrity of the entire process. I think this is really very critical for the general elections in 2015. And the way in which we conduct this election will have serious implication on the morale and motivation of voters. But let's see how it goes out. It seems to me that all the institutions involved are really trying to engage, and that is very critical. The election process is more like a security pact between all stakeholders, and I have said severally that it's a multi-stakeholder responsibility to ensure that this works out. So it's not only the responsibility of government institutions, it's also the responsibility of the political parties, the agents, and even the voters.
You know, as we're preparing
so
this
everything we do in this process should be aimed at ensuring that.
Are we going to be able to deploy 25,000 to each of the other states in 2015?
Yeah, I agree with you that the capacity of the police and the military may not be able to handle that. But like I said, we need to get this right. This is a model, and we need to get this right. So if we get it right in terms of peaceful elections and get it right in terms of the operations of the election generally, then we would have started shaping a political culture that will enable us move from this point, so that in 2015 elections we don't have cases of violence and processes that dampen the voter participation and also the motivation of people to come out and participate in the process actively.
All right, then that's why we'll have to let it go. Paul Nylulaku, thank you very much indeed for speaking with us today on Sunrise Daily.